Oh, it's already started. See, I'm learning as I go. Okay, maybe I'm not learning. Where am I? There I am. Okay, cool. Yay. Newbie here. Hi. So this is really nerve-wracking because I didn't even know for sure how that was going to work when I opened up the camera. Wow. Good start. Okay, so this is my homework assignment, but it's also my first step toward my dream life. And I say that because this is something I've been working towards for months. And it's so exciting and so scary and all of the things. But this one in particular is just perfect timing. It's all about synchronicities. So, yeah. Now I'm having internet problems. Hopefully this is coming through. Anyway, I'm going to tell this story. This is a homework assignment from a class that I'm in right now online, a course that I'm in right now about storytelling, so that you can share what you want to share in a more natural way instead of having to be perfect all the time, which obviously I'm not. So I've been on this journey for my whole life, as far as I can remember, of always seeking more information, always wanting to learn about things that were kind of outside the box, like Martians, aliens, God, religion, spirituality, ghosts, all the stuff that is kind of always on the fringe of everyone's imagination, I suppose. I've always been intrigued by that stuff. And the spiritual journey kind of took over. Oh, I'd say I've started that journey years ago, kind of off and on. Like I wobble a lot. I'm like seeking it out and then really tuned in sometimes, and then other times I'm completely off course and completely disconnected from source. I think that's just part of the journey. I know that's just part of the journey, and I know that that's something we all experience as humans. So I'm not bashing myself or feeling bad about that. But this particular story happened to me, I want to say it was 4 years ago. And it really set the course for this, I believe, that's happening to me right now. So I was working at a little gift shop over here at the Lake of the Ozarks, and I met the girl that was working in the shop next to mine, and we used to go out and have smoke breaks and talk to each other, chat, and just got to know each other and became friends. And after a while of talking, we both kind of approached that a subject of spirituality, and it turned out we were both kind of seeking the same thing and kind of on the same path. And she sent me a video and told me, you need to watch this video. You're going to love it. And I was like, okay. So, well, who is it and what's it about? So she told me a little bit, and I was immediately, she said it was some woman that channels some beings, and I kind of in my head kind of rolled my eyes and was like, yeah, that's not for me. I thought, oh, that's going a little too far, like I'm not ready for that. But I was like, I'll watch it. So I let it sit there for, I don't know, probably a month, 3 or 4 weeks, before I finally decided to watch it. And I laid down in bed one night and I thought, I'm just going to turn this video on and see what this is all about. So I turned it on my phone. I had it running. I fell asleep after about the first couple of minutes of the video running. I just fell asleep. Woke up the next morning. I was like, oh, dang it. I guess I'm going to try to watch that video again since I fell asleep and missed the whole thing. So I went about my life. I was working at the time at a restaurant in the kitchen. And so I go about my daily life, and one day, this is kind of a long story and it kind of winds around, so I'm trying to make sure I do it in the right order because it really makes sense and pops when I do it. One day I was down helping my son and daughter-in-law move into a new home. And they had this little flower bed in front of the house that had rocks in it. And I'm a rock hound. I love collecting rocks. Everywhere I go, I'm always looking at rocks. And yeah. So I was looking in the rocks, and I see this blue thing in there. I thought, what the heck is that? Because there's no blue, like that kind of blue. I reached down, picked it up, and it was a piece of glass that was blue. It was thick. It was dark blue, just brilliant blue, and I'm like, wow, somebody broke a bottle or something, and I need to get that out of the rocks. So I threw it in the trash, didn't think anything of it. Then about, I don't know, a few days later, I was coming home from work, and I started in my back door, and I looked down, and the slider door, and just perfectly parallel to the door and centered right in the opening of the door was a feather. And I was like, oh, look at that. That's adorable. So I reached down and picked up the feather and brought it in my house. I have a bird named Pee-wee. He's a cockatiel. He just passed away a couple of weeks ago, sadly, but he was 24 and a half years old. So anyway, I picked up the feather and I took it in, and I was saving the feather for my granddaughter because she loves feathers. And then a couple of days later, I was at work, and I was out on a break talking to a co-worker, and this butterfly came over and just landed on my elbow. And I was like, well, hi, how are you? And I just talked to the butterfly, and it hung out with me for probably 5 minutes before it finally flew away. And I thought, well, that was the sweetest little interaction. I love that when things like that happen. I've always loved that. Didn't think much of it, though, afterwards, moved on. So probably this all took place probably in the course of another 2 weeks after I had fallen asleep on that video. So one night I thought, okay, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to turn this video on, and I'm going to see what this is all about. So I turn it on with my skepticism in full gear, and I start listening, and it turns out that this woman that was on the video, she goes by Abraham Hicks. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Abraham Hicks by now. And she starts to, she's talking through her video, and she starts to share a story about something that happened with her and her husband. And it just, okay, so the story she was talking about said her and her husband were going to lunch. They saw a shop, and for some reason she was drawn to the back of that shop. For some reason she just had to go in that shop. Her husband was irritated, he just wanted to go to lunch. She was like, no, we got to go in this shop. We have to go in this shop. So they went in, and they made their way through the shop, and nothing really stood out to them. And then they make it to the back, and at the back of the shop was this wall of this beautiful design, all made out of blue glass, and it was just gorgeous, stunning. And they were like, wow, that was worth seeing. I don't know why we needed to see that, but that was worth seeing. And then they go on to their lunch, and after lunch they decided to walk down by the water, which was not too far away. And as they're walking down by the water, or walking to that area, there was they ran into a bunch of butterflies that were so thick, she said they had to keep their mouths closed. They had to stop talking because they were trying to swallow these butterflies. There were so many of them. So they make it out of that, and they're walking across a field towards the water, and this little boy comes running at her, and her husband's like, do you know this kid? And she's like, no, I don't know him. And he comes directly to her and hands her a feather. And I was just laying in my bed listening to this story and thinking, that's not possible. Like, she didn't just, what just happened? So when it hit me that she was telling this story, that I had fallen asleep, mind you, but the video kept playing. So I got that information in my head, while I was asleep. Unconsciously, subconsciously, it was in there. And then I had the experience of the blue glass and the butterfly and the feather, and I was like, I literally laid in my bed and cried and cried and cried, because all I could think was, oh my God, if talk about synchronicities. If this isn't somebody trying to give me a message, I don't know what is. Okay, like I'm paying attention. Okay. That's my Abraham story. And I would invite anybody who doesn't know Abraham Hicks to go look up Abraham Hicks and watch those videos. And I'm going to tell you this before you do. If you're a skeptic like I was about channeling and all of that, I still don't know for sure if channeling is real. I don't know. I don't know. All I do know is, after listening to some of her videos, I realized it wasn't about the messenger, it was about the message. So I don't have to believe in channeling. I don't have to believe, as long as the message that I'm receiving syncs up to me and it resonates with me, it's for me. And I don't care who the messenger is. It's for me. That one was definitely for me, and that set me on a path that has been crazy. It's really gearing up right now, and the synchronicities are just insane, and I'm so excited. And I'm about to unleash on the world, I think, something that's going to be spectacular and beautiful. And I'm excited. Okay, so there's my homework assignment. Thanks for listening. Love you all. Check out Abraham Hicks.